Hello guys, Thijs here again, and this time I have an other guide than I normally do, and this time I wanna talk first about Patron Warrior. The reason I don't wanna go immediately to gameplay with the Patron Warrior is because Patron Warrior, especially for new players, it is a really difficult deck. It is probably people say it is the strongest deck now in the Hearthstone and in the meta, but it is a really hard deck to play. It is there is like no deck that comes even close to how you play this deck out. And if we are looking at the cards like really fast and not looking much, you see a lot of cards having card draw. You see we play the Novic Engineer, we play the Acolyte, we play Slam, we play Battle Rage, like a lot of cards that cycle the deck. And that is something that you are wanna keep going on, so you can just draw in your combo pieces. The game pattern deck is a really combo based deck. There is no deck that is even more combo based maybe than the game pattern deck. And why do we even call it the game pattern warrior? Of course because of the game pattern. And this is the card that is, it is the newest card now in Hearthstone. And this card is this whole deck is made around this card. It is also a bit made about the Flooding Berserker. I will come later to the Flooding. Okay, but let's look first at the game pattern. If you look at the game pattern, it says that if it gets damage on, you spawn another one. So what happens is if you have this game pattern on the board as a 3/3, you deal damage to this game pattern. What you can do yourself really easily, like with an Inner Rage, with a Whirlwind, with the Death Rattle effect from the Despite, with the unstable ghoul that is getting killed on the board, with a slam. Like, you have a lot of ways to just deal yourself already damage to your own game patterns, besides trading on your with your opponent. And that is why this deck is so strong. Like, if you go for a game pattern and you just play the Inner Rage on it, so you have like 2 game patterns, and you play a Whirlwind afterwards, what deals 1 damage, so that even doubles your game pattern. So you have 4 game patterns on the board. And you can imagine, if you have 4 game patterns on the board, that your opponent, besides you have already 4 minions, they also have to deal with it. And it is a really hard minion to deal with then, if there are like a lot of patterns on the board. So if you just look at the fast gameplay, how the deck normally plays off is that the early games you really wanna just remove some of your opponent's threats. Like, you play the War Axe, you play the Despite. These weapons are really good to just trade on board. The Armor Smiths are normally really important to get some lives back. And what you are doing already from that point on, already really early, is getting some cards draw in. Like getting an Acolyte off with maybe an Inner Rage, or just playing it on a board, playing the Novic Engineer. Like, just getting your card draw rolling. And then there is the Emperor Torsion, and the Emperor Torsion just does everything what this deck needs. You get your cards cheaper, you get your combo pieces cheaper, everything gets cheaper. And it is so big because normally your hand is stacked with like 7-8 cards, and it gets really strong from that point on. So what is your how does your Mulligan look with this deck? Your Mulligan against aggro. I wanna split the Mulligans in 2 pieces, or maybe 3. We Mulligan against aggro, and we Mulligan against control. Against aggro, what is important is your weapons. Mulligan for your weapons, Fire War Axe and Despite. I would even say keep Despite. It sounds a bit weird maybe also against aggro, but this card is so good also with the Death Rattle that I would say keep Despite. So what are we looking for? We are looking for Fire War Axe, we are looking for Despites. Armor Smiths are pretty nice. With a good hand, keep Acolyte. If you have already a good hand, you can also keep Acolyte and an Unstable Ghoul. I would say that are the cards we are looking for. Against control, the Mulligan is totally different. What are we looking for against control? Despite is still a good keep. Fire War Axe is still an okay keep. You can keep Fire War Axe. It depends really, like against Handlock or against Druid. It's not really that good. So I would consider not really keeping Fire War Axe maybe, because the card, but it's not horrible to keep. It really, against mid-range, I will keep it. Like, there are like only 2 or 3 matchups what is Handlock, Control Warrior, and maybe Druid where I will not keep it. What are we looking for besides that? Besides the Despite, we are looking for all the card draw. We are not looking for armor smiths, we mulligan this away. We are looking for acolytes, we are looking for Nomish Infantus. I would keep this card against all the control matchups. We are maybe, sometimes I even keep already Game Patron, especially in the mirror match. The guy that gets the first Game Patron off is normally the winner. And a lot of times I keep Emperor by just because you get your cards cheaper. It is such a big deal and so important. And how does that work out? How does the gameplay work out? Against aggro, it is surviving. Against aggro, you just try to survive the early games. Game pattern is normally not your win condition. You don't need the combo to really win. Just getting like value out of your trades, getting a lot of armor sometimes with the armor smith, getting value trades. Like the warrior is really good against aggro because of course like Whirlwind and because the minions are having more HP than attack, you can get already a lot of good trades on. And with the weapons, if you have like some weapons, it makes the game also way easier. So you don't rely on these combo pieces. Against control, you totally do. The only thing you need is a good combo piece, and good combo pieces are like getting a lot of with the Warzone Commander, Game Patron with an inner race. Like imagine if you have an Emperor off and this combo, instead of an 8 mana combo, it gets a 6 mana combo. You can imagine that it gets really powerful, and there are way more combos we didn't even talk about. And another combo is the Frauding Berserker. And if you like imagine again, if there is like an Emperor gone and you get your Warsong and Frauding combo for 2 mana, like both 2 mana, you can already go for a charged Frauding for 4 mana. And if you have like a cheap ghoul for 1 mana or even 2, and you play this with a Whirlwind, and you just like, and imagine your opponent has 3 minions on the board, you get, by just playing the Whirlwind, you get already 6 attack extra on your Frauding. And you can even, because you also charge your ghoul, you can even charge with your ghoul into a minion, what's give another 2 because of the ghoul attack into another minion. And because of the death rattle, it gets another 2. So now I just talked about already one combo, what is normally 8 mana, but what can also be like 5 mana. And that combo already deals 16 damage by imagining 3 minions on the opponent's board, what is really likely. And that is only something about 6 mana. And I had already a lot of situations also on my stream where I just get like Fraudings on that deal more than 30 damage. It doesn't happen like insanely much, but it is a combo piece that goes over a lot. And is this the best deck list to play with? Not really sure. Like there are a lot of cuts to make. Like you can put out a Dread Corsair. It's not the best card in this deck, and if you face a lot of other patrons, put in your Harrison. Are there other cards to play? Yeah, Cruel Taskmaster is also a really good card to play. It really depends on what you're facing. You can tech this, like the deck list is kind of similar in all the ways, but you can make some small tech decisions on what you're facing. If you are facing a lot of handlock, please put in a big game hunter. It's more than likely. If you are facing a lot of hunters, put in 1 shield block, just to get an extra reach, and it is also in card draw, so it is still really good. You can, it's like this deck is from 25 cards. You really have to play them, but the other spots are really free to play. Do you think like double Dread Corsairs would? You can also put in double Dread Corsair. That's also fine. There are a lot of small techs to play, but the playstyle will always be a bit similar. How I already talked about the mulligans, and you just have like the executes to, because you have so many effects that deal 1 damage, the executes gets really good. That is why executes are better than shield slams. You get executes off way easier with this deck, and I have to say it is a really hard deck. And also an important thing, you rope really fast. You can imagine if you go for a Warzone Game Patron play and you are just charging up into his minions, they are spamming more Game Patrons, and that it takes a lot of time. So if you already start by playing this, you will see that roping is like you have to be really careful with roping with this deck. And yeah, I will this is a short guide about what is important in a deck, because this deck is really a difficult deck. I really think it's important to know, if you are new to this deck, to know a bit of the basics. And So now I just told a bit of the basics, and tomorrow I will make a guide of, I will make some gameplay with this game Patron Warrior deck, and yeah, give you a few examples of the things I already said today, and give you some gameplay moments that you can see how the deck works out. So I hope you are already, I think it's really important for the new players that are not common with this deck. So I really want to have this, because a lot of people ask me already, can you just make a basic guide about the game Patron Warrior? So now you have the basic, there is the basic guide, and tomorrow I will show off some gameplay, and then you will see how this deck plays on. And I hope you learned something from it, and I will see you next time again.